Star Wars was once so popular it reached every corner of pop culture. But after Disney took over, it slowly lost its influence until it became the worst part of Disney. So let's take a look at why Star Wars is now losing its influence. Before we get started, a quick reminder to like and subscribe. Also, be sure to answer the question of the day in the comments below. What is your favorite Star Wars movie? When Disney Plus was announced, I thought this meant Star Wars could tell longer, more complex stories where characters could grow over multiple seasons. But was disappointed when all we got were limited series that felt rushed. I love getting these new shows and learning more about the Star Wars universe, but even I think the amount of new shows we have is out of control. Not all the shows are bad. Shows like Obi-Wan that tell a complete story are fine. But some shows, like the Book of Boba Fett, are cancelled before they have a chance to get started. These shorter shows also lose a lot of the world building, making characters like Ahsoka feel pointless, not just in their own show, but also in the greater universe. Other shows like the Bad Batch end with a great promise, like Omega joining the rebellion, but don't follow up on it. The George Lucas era had this yin-yang kind of relationship between the movies and the shows. This all started with the Clone Wars, becoming one of the most popular shows for how it expanded the prequels and Anakin's descent, adding depth and history to its world and characters, making us understand Anakin and allowed us to see Revenge of the Sith for the horrifying movie that it was supposed to be. You could also say the same thing for Rebels, making us understand and root for them when we rewatch A New Hope, as we see how much they have sacrificed to create the rebellion. This is the main reason why the George Lucas era has worked so well. The movies expanded the timeline, while the shows filled in the missing pieces, making us see the movies in a new light. When George Lucas was writing Star Wars, the world was facing hardship with the Vietnam War, and films carried that same depressing attitude. So, when developing A New Hope, he wanted the movie to be the opposite, giving the original trilogy this sense of wonder and fun that continues through the trilogy. But when making the prequels, George decided to do something different, dropping the more fun tone for something more serious, focusing on the politics and the tragic story of the Jedi. This gave the prequels their own identity as a political thriller that could stand on its own with almost nothing from the original trilogy carrying over. But the two new Disney eras have none of that, with movies feeling interchangeable between the sequels and the New Republic. Another great thing about the Clone Wars were the new and interesting planets, each with their own culture, history, and architecture. Take Mandalore, for example, a planet that Clone Wars gives a great focus to, slowly introducing us to the pacifist government style, all leading up to Maul taking over Mandalore at the end of the series, but makes us feel nothing but apathy for the invasion of Naboo, since we have no connection or feelings to the planet and its people. And that's what's missing from the Disney era. Many planets feel meaningless, with quick explanations to make them appear cool, but lack the deeper connection. The Mandalorian started off as a great show, with Disney finally trying something different, with its simple story about a father and son becoming a fan favorite. However, over time, this era turned into a giant ad for The Mandalorian, with each show being some kind of spin-off. An exception to this is Skeleton Crew, a show that completely ignores The Mandalorian and finds its own identity with its own characters, showing us the potential of this era. Book of Boba Fett was the most guilty, as it was hijacked by The Mandalorian. I'm not even mad that we saw Grogu again. It's the fact that they completely undid his decision to go with Luke and be trained as a Jedi. The closest this era ever really got to a villain was the pirates in Skeleton Crew, but even that was disappointing because of their lack of power. After the death of Vader, it just feels like everything is fine, and we're just waiting for the First Order to rise. This era also has no main character that ties all the projects together, with each show being about someone completely different. What made the other eras work was that they were telling a story together. The story of Anakin, a Jedi who fell to the dark side, but found his way home thanks to his son. These eras also have no important battles that made the other eras feel like a historical war drama. The battles made the story so much more interesting, with how the action drove the story forward. When Star Wars was released, George never thought it would be the next big thing. He was just trying to give the fans something new. Maybe it didn't always work, but George was so invested in his fans that he was always trying to do better, to give them what they want. And maybe that is why Disney doesn't understand Star Wars. A company that has gotten so big and powerful that people will just watch their movies because it's from Disney. They no longer need to try. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Here are some other videos you may like. And stay tuned, as next time we will rank every Pixar movie.